Ever feel like trying to afford a place to live these days is like, I don't know, some impossible game?
Yeah, it's definitely a tough market out there.
It is. I always thought it was just, simple supply and demand. But this article I read, the real reason housing is so expensive, well, it kind of blew my mind, honestly.
Oh, yeah. What did they say?
Well, like right off the bat, they hit you with this crazy stat.
Mm.
The median home price in the U.S. is something like $400,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's more than double what it was, get this, 80 years ago, even when you adjust for inflation and all that.
Wow, that puts it in perspective.
It's wild. And it's not just buying a home either, right? Renters are getting squeezed too. I think the article said over half of them are spending like more than 30% of their income just on rent.
I believe it. It's rough out there.
The article even said that in a lot of places, even if you're working full-time at minimum wage, you can't even afford a one-bedroom. So, okay, we know it's bad, but the article goes deeper, right? It says it's not just that there aren't enough houses. It's about how, like, housing itself has become something totally different.
Yeah, the article really makes you think about it differently.
It does. So help us understand that. Like, how has housing changed?
Well, basically, the article argues that houses aren't just places to live anymore. They're like investments, like something you buy to make money off of.
So less about having somewhere to live, more about just like profit.
Exactly. Think of it like Wall Street, They're treating houses like stocks or something.
So even if we built a ton of new houses, if they're all getting bought up as investments, the prices wouldn't actually go down.
That's the gist of it. It's not really about supply and demand in the traditional sense. It's about, well, money. It's about who has it and how they can make more of it.
Which is kind of disheartening when you think about people just, you know, trying to find a place to live.
I hear you. It's a tough reality for a lot of folks.
And then it gets even crazier because the article starts talking about algorithms, like, computer
It's
algorithms.
algorithms for housing.
Yeah, like the ones Netflix uses to figure out what shows to recommend. Except, get this, they're using these things to, like, set rent prices.
Oh, you're talking about those tools landlords use. Yeah, the article mentions companies like RealPage. They use all this data to tell landlords how much they should charge for rent.
So instead of a landlord just looking at an apartment and being like, okay, this seems like a fair price for this neighborhood, it's some computer program telling them what to do.
Pretty much. And it's not just in like luxury buildings or anything. It's happening everywhere.
Wow. So it's like they're taking like human judgment out of the equation and just letting the algorithm decide.
In a way, yeah. Which, is a little worrying when you think about it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Especially if those algorithms aren't taking into account things like, I don't know, maybe the apartment has bad plumbing or the walls are paper thin.
exactly. It makes you wonder about the fairness of it all,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we've got big companies treating houses like monopoly pieces, algorithms telling us how much to pay in rent. But then it gets even wilder because the article starts talking about private equity firms buying up tons of housing.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge issue. The article says that in 2022, private equity firms bought almost a third of all the single-family homes that were sold.
A third. So it's not even just like individual people buying homes anymore. It's these giant companies owning whole neighborhoods.
It's a trend that's, well, it's got a lot of people concerned.
I bet. What does that even mean for, regular families who are just trying to find a decent place to live?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's not just single-family homes either. They're buying up mobile home parks, too, which are often, like, the last affordable option for a lot of people.
Oh, wow. And I'm guessing they don't buy them to just, like, leave the rent as it is, right?
Sadly not. Often they raise the rent quite a bit, which can be really tough on people who are already struggling to afford a place to live. That's awful. It's like these are people's lives we're talking about here, not just, data points on a spreadsheet.
I know it's really disheartening to see. It's a reminder that we need to find better solutions to this housing crisis.
So, okay, we've got all these companies doing their thing, but what about like the government? Are there any policies in place that are like trying to make this whole situation better?
That's an important question, and the article actually dives into that a bit. It argues that, believe it or not, some government policies might actually be making things worse.
Really? Wait, so the government is part of the problem?
It's not that simple, but some of the policies, especially those dating back to like the 1980s,
Hmm.
have had these kind of unexpected and, well, not so great side effects.
Okay, interesting. Like what? Well, remember those mortgage-backed securities we were talking about? Imagine they took a whole bunch of those mortgages, bundled them together, and then get this, started selling them on the stock market, like shares of a company.
Wait, really? So instead of a mortgage just being a way to, help someone buy a house,
Mhm.
it becomes like this thing you can trade, like a commodity.
Exactly. And that's basically what happened. And when you combine that with things like, weak renter protections and tax breaks that mostly benefit homeowners, it kind of creates this system that, well, it really encourages people to treat housing as an investment, even if it means other people get priced out.
So it's not even enough to just build more houses. We need to rethink the whole way housing works, right?
That's the takeaway here. The article is really advocating for a paradigm shift. Like, what if, instead of treating housing like just another way to make money, we treated it like a basic human right?
I like the way you think, but that's a big change. Honestly, after learning all this, it feels kind of overwhelming. Like, what can regular people even do? It's not like we can just change the whole system on our own.
It's definitely a big challenge, but the article emphasizes that, our voices and actions do matter. One thing they suggest is getting involved locally, like learning about housing policies in your city or town.
So like going to city council meetings, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Or even just, staying informed about what's going on and talking to your local representatives.
Okay, so maybe it starts with being aware and making our voices heard.
Absolutely. And then there are also things like, supporting organizations that are working to create more affordable housing. Every little bit helps.
Well, this deep dive has definitely been eye-opening. I started out feeling kind of confused about the whole housing situation, but now, I don't know, I feel a little more hopeful. Like maybe there's a path forward, even if it's going to be a long road.
I'm with you on that. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the complexity of it all, but the more we understand, the better equipped we are to advocate for change.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, we'll leave you with this. What can you do, even if it's something small, to be part of the solution to this housing crisis?
Yeah.
It's a question we're thinking about, and even more importantly, it's a conversation we need to keep having.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The more we talk about this, the more awareness we raise, the better the chances are that we can actually make a difference.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, everyone, keep asking those tough questions and stay curious.